Good morning, good morning. Let's chitty chatty while I eat my breakfast. My breaking my fast. Yes. I got me some tortillas, some refried beans, and some of my favorite cheese, my Tillamook sharp white cheddar cheese. You gotta try it. It's delicious. You gotta get the one that says age, I think age for 9 years. Get that one. But yeah, I just woke up in a very weird mood. I don't know, for the past 2 days I've been waking up in a very weird, weird mood, life is for the most part, I'm a very positive person. I think I'm a pretty positive person for the most part. So for me, when I go down the slippery slope of, I don't want to call it depression, um but it's kind of like a depression. When I go down that road right there, usually I pull myself back pretty easily out of that slump, right? And for the past couple of days I've been feeling like in a slump, and it's been really weird. I was talking to my daughter yesterday, about this life, how nothing really seems legit anymore. Nothing really seems um, kosher anymore. From the people to the activities that we do, nothing. It's like all of it has been done. All of it is just, it's just like we're just moving through life. Just moving through, just moving through life with no fire, with no oomph sometimes. And that's how it feels sometimes. But for the most part, I'm usually a person that's like, like the sky's the limit. You can do anything. Everything is possible. But for the past couple of days, it's not that I haven't been feeling that same way. It's just that it feels different. The air feels heavy. The air feels heavy. For one, I wake up this morning with my mom and my dad in my mind, thinking about my parents and how crazy it is to not have parents that are here with you physically. It's just insane because growing up, it's like that never crossed my mind. I always thought they would be here. You know, and sometimes I get in that slump where I'm just like, I really need my mom and dad right now. You know, even at 50, it's like I need to see my mom and dad physically. I need to see them, not just think about them, not just see them on a picture. So I can imagine, being a child growing up and not knowing your parents, not ever setting eye on your mom or your dad. That's got to be traumatic, right? It's got to be a hard thing. But I was lucky enough to lay eyes on my parents growing up and to be with them for a long, long, long time. But there's some kids that don't get that opportunity. Some people that don't get that chance. And I did, but still, it's like not having a mom or a dad that plays that really it really plays on your on on your mental sometimes. I just woke up like this morning. Yesterday I woke up with my sister Penny on my mind. You know, but the thing about it is, I'm not sad that they're not here physically. I'm being selfish. I just would like them to be here, regardless of what happened for them to leave. It's just like I want you to be here. You know, and some days is it hits you harder than others. Some days it's just like, why, why? I would take those people back and replace them with somebody else. Somebody else could go, but not them. You know, and that's just how I've been feeling. It's sad because life just keeps going on with the people that you love so much missing, especially your parents, for us people that actually know our parents, and for the ones that don't even know their parents, I can imagine how much harder that is. I can imagine. I don't recall at any point in my life where I was so pissed off at my mom and my dad where I just said, screw it, I don't ever want to talk to you again. I don't ever recall a time like that. And I know that some of us have childhood traumas, some traumatic stuff that happened where, you would say, well, if you knew what happened, you wouldn't talk to them either. But the crazy thing is, literally, that person, those two people had choices to bring you into this world. Literally, your vessel. Just imagine an egg, walking with an egg in your hand, and you're being so careful with it not to drop it, even if you don't want to carry it. Some parents don't want to carry it, but some really are careful with it. But even the ones that don't want to carry it, a lot of times they choose to carry that egg and take care of it. So it's just a little different not having your parents. It's different. And it's like I was close to both of my parents, my mom and my dad, but I was her titty baby. I was the crier. I was her titty baby. I think I looked just like her, only in a brown version. She was chocolate. I always tell my daughter that she's chocolate, like my mom, like her grandma. I love it. Sometimes I look at my daughter, and I'm just like, girl, I ain't jealous of your color. I love her color. And I love my mama's color. My mama was all chocolate, all one color. Beautiful, beautiful. My dad, he was a little caramello, her caramello. I just miss them. It's not like it happened sudden. They were two little old people. And my mom, I feel like she's better because she was sick for a long time. My dad, he just decided, hey, my girl gone, so I'm headed with her. I'm going with her. Doses. We like, Dad, bro, what you doing? You ain't gonna hang around with us? My dad was like, my girl, I'm with my girl. Peace out. Okay, all right. I get it. I understand, but it's just a different world when you don't have your parents. It's different. Even at my big age, it's different. So, mamas, especially mamas, man. When I tell you, mamas are something so rare, very rare. Real mamas, man. That lady done been through some things, baby. Birthing 11 children. Oh, she is special. Oh, who ain't special? Oh, hell yeah, she is. I stopped at 2. I was like, girl. My mom looked at me after I had Ariel, and she was like, whoa, she big. You was big too when you was little. I was 10 pounds. Ariel was 10 pounds, 1 ounce. I said, girl, how you do that? And you did it several times, having a big ass 10-pound baby. The word on the street is one of them suckers was 12, 13 pounds. Baby, you send him back. Tell the stork, come get this sucker right here. He too big. I can't feed him. All right? But I'm telling you, mamas, ooh wee. And I love my daddy too. I miss them. My dad was the clown. He was the one, Mr. Young. The one that always had some joke. I remember going to visit them at Zarita house when my mom had first got sick. And Uriah was little. Uriah was about 2 years old. And every time I get to Zarita house, my dad would be sitting right there with his eyes on Uriah. Somebody get this boy. Because Uriah would walk in and kick them slippers off. I mean, flip. And until today, the boy still wears slippers, okay? He'd walk in, kick them slippers off, and look around like, what's the first thing I'm going to touch? Let me see. And Papa was right there. Somebody come get this little boy. Tanya, get this little boy. I'm like, that. We still remember it until today. And the boy's still wearing his chunklets. Still, Papa would be so proud of him. He don't walk in and kick them off no more. He politely take them off at the door. Yeah, but that was my dad. And my mom, she'd just be looking like, I get it. Yeah. She was so used to Ariel and Uriah. By the time she got really sick, they were still little. So she didn't get to spend a lot of time like that with them, like my dad, where he would actually see them in action. And Ariel, that was Papa's girl, right? Because he always say Ariel reminds him of his sister. and one of his sisters. But that was his home girl, and Uriah was just a menace. He just looked at Uriah like, oh, somebody get a rope, tie this boy down, somebody tie him down, and he'd be looking. Where Ali boy gone? Tanya, where Ali boy there? Dad, he's right here. But it was too much fun watching him with his grandkids. Too much fun, and my mama got to experience a lot of them with them grandkids too. But baby, and I tell you, they would have been having a blast right now with these cheering. Oh my gosh, they would have been having a blast. But I miss them so much, and ain't nothing like having a mama and a daddy, baby. And sometimes I feel a little guilty when it comes to my two kids because I always tell them that I feel so bad that um, they don't have a dad with them in the house. Like I grew up with my mom and dad in the house, and I feel a little guilty that I didn't give that exact same thing to them when they were growing up. They tell me they understand, but at the same time, it's me because I got to experience it. I got to say, who do I want to choose to talk to? Not my kids. They can't come in and say, who do I want to choose to talk to? They just got me to talk to. I am mama and daddy, combined platter. Yes, Lord. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I'm even here to say that, right? I'm happy to be mama and daddy, you know, and I'm just happy that I got to see a lot of my parents um, as they was getting older. Two little old people. And my dad's last week when he came home from the hospital, I was his caregiver. I was working, um, and I told my boss, I said, I gotta go home. I can't. I'm not gonna be able to come back to work because my dad is coming home from the rehab, from the recovery, and I gotta take care of him. I want to take care of him because too, like with my mom, I got to see her a lot when she was sick, but my dad, I didn't really get to see him that much when he was sick. So by the time my dad was actually sick, like really sick, I was going through a lot of stuff in my life. I was going through a lot of downs and downs and downs and downs. It was like one thing back to back to back to back to back. So I really didn't get to pay that much attention to my dad when he was sick. When he got sick, actually, I wasn't around that much. I was dealing with a lot of stressful things in my life. So I separated myself, me and my kids, and so when I did show back up and came back around, by that time my dad was sick. So I said, okay. I haven't seen him that long, so I haven't seen him on a constant basis like how I saw my mom. So I said, well, let me spend more time with my dad. Let me spend some time with him. So it just so happens that me, after going through what I went through and becoming homeless and all of that, I end up moving in with my oldest sister. But the thing is, right before that, when my mom passed away, I end up in the hospital the very same day she passed away. She passed away, I end up in the hospital for 3 months. So all that 3 months, didn't hear nothing about my dad, didn't see nothing. I was dealing with my own stuff in the hospital. Literally, I'm like, was I in a coma? Because I don't remember diddly squat, maybe until like the last month I was in there. That's when I started. I guess they took me off of some of the meds, and I was coming around and all of that. And by the time all of that happened, all of that like spiraled, and I had the brain surgery. I ended up homeless. I moved to Atlanta, ended up homeless in Atlanta, came back, and when I came back is when I moved in with my sister. And at this time, now my dad is in the hospital. Now he's in the hospital after just having a stroke. And I'm just like, whoa. Like everything is flipped upside down, right? So I'm just like, oh my gosh. So when I move in with her, see, the thing about life is nothing happens on accident. Everything happens for a specific reason. So I don't beat myself up about anything that's happened in my life. I don't try to tell myself, you shoulda, girl, you coulda. No, because everything happened right at the exact specific time it's supposed to happen. Me coming back from Atlanta, my dad is sick, he's getting out of rehab, blah, blah, blah. My dad is at rehab and he's not liking it there, like literally like a nursing home, and he's just like, I'm ready to go home. So he came home, I remember when the ambulance brought him because he was at that place and he was just like not liking it there at all. And I said, okay, well, he's going to come home, recover, get better, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay. I told my boss, yeah, I'm not going to come back to work on Monday. I'm going to stay and take care of my dad. So that Friday when I left work is that Friday when my daddy came home. And he came home and he's in the room. And my son is in the room with him. And he's on his hospital bed in the room, and my son is on the other bed. And my son is just there watching TV, watching TV. And I'm taking care of my dad this whole time, and I'm like, dad, he doesn't seem like he's getting better. He doesn't seem like he's getting better. So I'm watching him every day, give him his meds, try to get him to eat, all of that. But by the third day, he like completely stops eating. Um, he stops doing everything, and I'm just like, okay. So I'm talking to him, he's not responding, giving him his food, he's not really taking it, and he's starting to choke on his food. So I'm like, okay, dad, like, oh, I won't force you. You're not hungry, I'm not gonna force you. But at this point, he's already stopped talking, right? So maybe the third day, okay. So next thing I know, a lady comes by and she calls herself the hospice nurse. And I said, hospice? Me and my sister like hospice, and my sister, we're just like, oh, I think my sister was more in denial than I was. I was like, okay, because at this point, I'm just looking at my dad and I'm like, he's freaking exhausted. He's tired. He's tired. So the hospice nurse comes by and she shows me all the meds and tells me what to do and this, and this, how to make him comfortable and this, and that, and that, and that. And I'm like, okay, so I follow all her rules and stuff. And, she's like, at this point, we just need to leave him alone, let him rest. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Wait. I remember the last night I was on the phone talking to my cousin, and I'm just talking to her, and she's asking me, how's everything going? And da 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 da. And my son is in the room laying on the other bed, and my dad is on the other bed, but he's resting, he's sleeping, right? So I'm in the living room and I'm just talking to my cousin, yeah, and yeah, dad, he's this and that and that and that and that. And she's like, and I'm like, well, in the morning, I'm just gonna get off the phone because tomorrow is Sabbath, and everybody's trying to go to bed tonight, and it's already 3 in the morning, whatever, 2, 3 in the morning, and I'm like, so I'll talk to you later. I think my sister's going to church in the morning because I got to stay here and take care of dad and blah blah blah. I get up and I get off the phone, and I go in the room and I'm like, dad, and usually he'll move or something. I'm like, dad, and he's not saying anything, nothing, and my son is just on the bed watching Cartoon Network. And so I go over to my dad, I check him, check his pulses and stuff, check him here, and they tell me check his ankle. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, okay, I get it. I understand. I wasn't scared. I wasn't panicking. I wasn't any of that. I was just glad that I got to see and got to be with my dad at his last moments. Glad I was there to joke with him and laugh with him when he could laugh and joke around. The last, maybe the second day he came home, he did that. He laughed and talked and blah, blah, blah. But then that was it. So I'm just glad I got to see him. And he was just sleeping away. And I told my son, I said, and my son is just laying on the other bed. And I said, Papa passed away, Raya. And Raya said, what do you mean, Mom? He's sleeping. I said, Papa, he's not sleeping. He's passed away, Raya. And he said, he got up off that bed and he said, what do you mean? This man could have told me something. He could have said something to me, Mom. I was like, no way, son. That's not how that works. He said, what do you mean he just passed away and didn't tell me anything, that he was about to go? Nothing? I said, oh my goodness. But that was the night. That was the last night. And that was the laugh of the night for me. My kids are never afraid of that kind of stuff because I teach them that that's a peaceful thing. It's not nothing scary. They don't need to be afraid of any of that stuff. Nobody's going to come and grab you. Ooh. No, not like how they raised me. Not like how them people raised me. I'm talking about the ones in Belize with all this scary crap. Okay, that's not how death is, and that's not how I'm teaching my kids that death is. It's nothing scary. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's peaceful. And Papa loved y'all so much, and he loved all of us so much. And I miss them. And I think why my dad, I could sit more easy with him passing away because I got to see him last. My mom, I got to see her last too, but I didn't get to see her before she passed away. I got to see her as she had already passed away at the hospital. And that's when I saw her, the last vision of her I had. So I didn't get to see anything else. And I think that's why it kind of stresses me out when I think about her the most. And then plus, like I told y'all, I was her titty baby, so you know, ma, ma, y'all stop the ma. Where one? Parents are so important, and parents are so special. And I don't know who in this world don't want to be around their kids. Who in the world don't want to be around their children? It's crazy to even think about having a child and not being able to see that child, or not being able to touch that child, or not be able to not you're not even thinking about that child. That's insane to me. And it's the same with parents. Who in the world don't want to touch their dad, see their mom, see their dad? I don't know. Maybe it's crazy to me because I had it all. I had it. I had mom and dad. I could see them and touch them whenever I wanted to. So to not be able to, it's like, oof. But I'm just happy that they're okay. They're okay. And I'd rather them be wherever they are right now than to be here in pain, you know? So that's what makes me happy to know that I know they're good. I know they're good. Better than being here in pain, right? But life is good and life is gravy, and we miss the people that are gone, but life is still here for us to live it, for us to live it to the fullest. Yes, y'all. I done ranted all morning. Let me finish my breakfast. I'll talk to y'all later. I love y'all. Enjoy your day. Toast.